Today's a special day because I really wanted to do a Blue Eyes White Dragon Pure deck profile. Now, of course, starting out this deck profile, I do want to show you guys my little deck case. I've had this for a long while, in anticipation of making a Blue Eyes deck. But here's the thing, there is a twist with this deck. I like to call this a legendary deck because I'm not really the owner of this Blue Eyes deck. Instead, I've decided to try to make a Blue Eyes deck that shows not only the potential of the pureness of making a pure Blue Eyes deck by itself, but also a type of deck Kaiba himself would also use. So, sit back, relax, and here's my list. Now, this deck has been in, what I say, it's not production, but it kind of feels like that, since before the new wave of support was even announced. So I used all the other Blue Eyes cards available to make a coherent Blue Eyes strategy. It kind of did work out, but it really needed new support. After the new support, I tested the deck over and over again, and I found some really cool things you could do. I have a video on my profile right now. I'll link in the description so you can see a cool one-card combo with it. This video, though, I just want to try to keep it just deck profile, because usually I take really long, and with this one specifically, I will be explaining all the cards in depth and why I use them. So, with that all out of the way, I do want to say one last thing. Again, this is based on a pure Kaiba focused deck. Now, I do want to say, if you want to make a solely Kaiba character based deck, you'd also want to combine the ABCs with Blue Eyes, because that's more Battle City Kaiba, and then any God card support. But this is just pure Blue Eyes, and I think a deck that would make Kaiba proud. So even before the Kaiba Man support, I was already rocking 3 copies of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. But these copies are very special to me because these can only be obtained in the Seto Kaiba briefcase. That's right, I forked out the money for the Seto Kaiba briefcase, broke open the display case, and I put these babies in my deck. Why would I do that? Well, I can't be rocking a Seto Kaiba type of deck without the Blue Eyes White Dragons. Now, I'm the type of person to have done this probably with the DOS Blue Eyes. So, lucky for everyone else, the briefcase one was the only one I could get my hands on. Would I have done that? Absolutely. Because this is Seto Kaiba's deck. Look how beautiful the Blue Eyes is. I have the brightness all the way up as much as I can. And I had the brightness over here, but let me get the light. I don't know if that helps, but look at that parallel rare. Look at that. This is actually really good lighting right here. But look at that. Look how beautiful they look. They are amazing. Blue Eyes was one of the decks I had as a kid. Starter deck, that is. And the whole idea with this deck is there aren't bricks in this deck. They are needed cards. The whole deck, it centers around themselves. And I need to find a way to find what the middle is of this camera angle. But as a kid, I got these in the starter deck. I really love the Arconic Art of Blue Eyes. I even forked out the reprint of the Megaton 18 or 16 of the original artwork, and I put those in the case where these go. So sadly, the deck is not tournament legal because of that, but still, even in low lighting, they look really good. But that's why I want to build this deck, because also I really do like the character Kaiba. He's maybe not my top 10 or top 5, but I do like Kaiba as a character, and I really like his dragon. It's a pretty cool dragon. Sadly, I do think Jack is better. I do like the Red Demon's better. I do like the whole character better. But still, it's very iconic, very cool, and I do not have a Jack deck, and I don't intend to actually make one. But that is the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Next up is another 3-of card, and mind you, I've taken some deck building cues from Jesse Pierce. I'm going to go ahead and throw his YouTube channel in the description. But he said to make a deck with 5 to 7 playsets of 3. So this deck has, I think, 6 playsets. I could do one more playset, but I don't think that should be the way it goes. I have apparently lost the next 3 copies. Okay, here we go. So, Blue Ice is like a really weird small engine, and Blue Ice is probably the first time I've ever dealt with making a 1-card combo deck, or a deck out of a 1-card combo. Luckily, I did play the previous iteration of Blue Eyes before the support, so I kind of knew what cards did well with each other, but the new support really took it further. But this is part of the old support, and that would be 3 copies of Bingo Machine Go. And the reason why we play this at 3 is because the 5 to 7 cards at 3, those are your core of the deck. You want to open with this, because since this deck is also kind of 1-card combo-y, this leads you into the 1-card combo. This or Sage, or, of course, the Wishes. So you use this to go into Wishes. Later on, if you do get this for whatever reason, you could still use it to search any other Blue Eyes cards you may have not been able to get. But you use that just to get into your 3 copies of Wishes with Eyes of Blue. And of course, since this card is the #1 starter of the deck, it is very much a 3-of, very much needed at 3. So usually you could go 3 of this, and then 3 of the next card, which will be 3 Sage with Eyes of Blue. Now, I do have 1 Ultra, 2 Secret, and I don't know if you can see that in this low lighting I got going right now. It's been a while since I did deck profiles, so the lighting could be better, but I'm going to move the light just so you can see it. I don't know if you can see the secretness of it. Yeah, that's pretty good too. But, yeah. Sorry. So 2 secrets, 1 Ultra, and so off of Sage, this, and Bingo Machine Go, that's already 3 ways we could do the 1-card combo with Blue Eyes. So, I don't think it's that bad. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 2 more 3-ofs to go by. The next card isn't a 3-of in most people's builds. It's a 3-of in mine because it's even better when you open with it. You're already guaranteed to open up with another of the 1-card starters. And when we do the combo, if this card's in your hand already, it just helps for the combo. And that would be 3 copies of Roar of the Blue-Eyed White Dragons. Now, these cards are cards that I think everyone already knows. If you're looking up a Blue Eyes deck profile at this point in time, you already know what these cards do. So I'm not really explaining them. But I will tell you, this card has a hidden effect so no one uses it. On a separate turn that you use this card's effect, you could banish it from the graveyard to fusion summon, using monsters on your field or in your hand, but I think they have to be Blue Eyes. So it is technically 3 pseudo polymerizations that are just built into the deck already, which is insane. Yeah, most archetypes don't really have that, so that's really cool that Blue Eyes gets that. This is basically their poly. You don't have to run poly or anything, but in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh, if you activated this and then on your next turn you banish it to fusion summon, you may be already in a losing spot. but sometimes games do just go on a little too long. When the game really gets heated up, it really is. How do I say this? It really is going on for more than 4 turns. I've been in some long games recently, which is kind of funny. A lot of back and forth. Especially if you brick. So, there's that. The effect of this card, though, that many people may not know, is that if you already have the original Blue Eyes on the field, so if you already have our boy already on the field, this gets out any Blue Eyes. And just to double check and make sure, you do get special summon in defense position 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck, graveyard, or banishment. So not the hand, but deck, graveyard, and banishment. So the next 3 of card I've got is a special one. It is 3 Maiden of White. So that's all the 3 ofs. The only 3 of I would put in, or am considering to put in, is 3. What's his name? Neo Kaiser Seahorse, because he does have a cool effect of just foolish burrowing, something like Jet Dragon. But Maiden of White, and I would need to tweak the deck a little bit more, and I think that's what I'm going to do. But basically, the Blue Eyes core, people don't play 3 Blue Eyes. I'm playing 3 Blue Eyes because I really want to capture the essence of Blue Eyes as a pure deck, and because of Kaiba. People usually play just 2 Blue Eyes, if not just 1 Blue Eyes, but you could count this as one of the sets of 3. No one plays this, and it's usually just this 3 Sage, and then 3 Maiden, and then this is kind of the whole deck. Honestly, when you look at a bunch of deck profiles, this is the deck they show you, or this is the deck they show you, or this is the deck they show you. And it frees up a lot of space. And this is either played at 1 or 2 copies. And I understand why it's played at 2 copies, but for me personally, when you open up 1 and you already have the rest, it's pretty cool. This is just an added extender, basically. But if you really are dying for room, remove 1 and there you go. You got 2. It's pretty good. But that's why it's kind of hard to work with, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. You're missing 1 more playset of 3 of. But that's why this small core of Blue Eyes can really be played with like the Primite engine. There we go. I forgot the name, but the Primite engine. That's why they kind of go hand in hand, because it's a 1-card combo with that. So if you play 5 through 7 3-ofs, it's going to leave you open with a lot of 1-of slots and a lot of 2-of slots. So the card I do play at 2-of is True Light. And the reason why I play True Light at 2 is because this is a pure build. If this was not a pure build, you'd probably play 1 True Light. But since this is, we're going to do 2, because if I've played with 1. And I've gotten this banished before, and then Blue Eyes loses a lot of momentum. So with the extra 1, and I have 3 Maidens, I could go ahead and on my next turn put another True Light and go ahead and continue either doing a combo or something else to try to push and swing back harder for victory. So it's not like, okay, they just got rid of my True Light and now I'm out of the game. No, I still have another True Light. So that's the perks of playing pure. The other 2 of is actually, and funny enough, this has came up whenever I played against people, usually, and that is 2 Mausoleum Whites. Either they negate the spirit that searches this out, or they destroy it or whatever, and I could just play another one and activate another one straight from hand. Because sometimes it does happen where I do end up with this card in my hand. The other times, though, you could chuck to the graveyard, banish it, and add a Burst Stream of Destruction. That's probably not going to come out a lot, but it's still a cool in-archetype Dark Hole, basically, or a Regeki. And you're not going to really attack with Blue Eyes unless you're doing some sort of combos that I would do. which end up with you attacking with a 4K Blue Eyes, or a 5K sometimes. So then other 2 of is a card I used to have at 1 of, but I decided to put 2 copies because of just how powerful it is, and it makes a lot of sense because at the end of the day it does recycle. And that is 2 Ultimate Fusions. You know what it does, so I'm not going to explain. So the next card is... Technically, it would have been 2 copies of this next card, but I think we're at the 1-ofs already of the deck, and the 1-ofs, I have about 7 1-ofs. So the rule about the 1-ofs is you only want about 6 1-ofs, 7 maybe. 7's already kind of breaking it, but 6 1-ofs would be it. Most of my decks, though, I do have 7 1-ofs, and they're rogue for a reason, I guess I should say that. But this card, I was going to have 2 of them. Instead, however, because of reasons I'll get on to later, I only have 1 of currently. And that is Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. Now, of course, you probably saw the thumbnail. I have Magi in the deck. Also, another reason why I bumped up the Ultimate Fusion to 2, because I do summon him in the deck. And the other one I did have of him was the smaller one, but technically it's a 1-of, and it's not a 2-copy card, and this and that. It's a bunch of things. I did tweak the list from what I used to play to now the Magia version of it, so that's kind of why. I feel like the deck's at 95%. I gotta find out if I really need the Neo Kaiser Seahorse or not, and the extra deck, when we get to it, you'll see that there's a lot of space. So Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon is a 1-of in the deck. This card can easily be a 2-of, but I don't want to spend... I already spent a lot of money on this deck, so I don't want to spend any more money, and that would be Kaiba Man the Legend. Let's go. This is a great card. So, I didn't have Kaiba Man the Legend. I had Priestess with Eyes of Blue, because by the time you summon out Priestess, I have yet to actually trigger the effect to target Priestess. So I would put Priestess, normal summon Priestess, effect, target, chain, activate her effect, send her to the graveyard, send a Blue Eyes to the grave, and then add 2 either Chaos Max or Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon, and just set up big. Him is a little different. He gets you a Blue Eyes on the field. It makes it more streamlined. It feels really good. You could play 2 of. I want to play 2 of. It's just I don't want to throw another $6 or another $11 thinking he went up in price for him. So he's going to be a 1 copy. And I know you could get away with 1 in the deck, at least a 1. But also, since I'm going full Kaiba, and he works specifically with 3 Blue Eyes, I'm going to go ahead and keep him. He's really cool, though, with the 1-card combo, because after you bring out the Blue Eyes, you Synchro Summon, you bring out the Blue Eyes again, you get out another Maiden, and you get out, you banish Kaiba Man to get a Search. So that's what his utility is. So, I wanted to do full fusion, full Synchro with this deck, and that's why I have 1 copy of the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. So with Neo Kaiser, I could send him to the graveyard. I don't have Neo Kaiser, but this is why I kind of want Neo Kaiser in the deck. And he would be the name alternative in the graveyard, and that would be for the extra deck. Also, he's not a bad special summon, because when he hits the field, he's still Blue Eyes. Reveal Blue Eyes in hand, get him out, and get Maiden from the grave. Pop a monster, he can't attack, but you synchro him off anyway. Also, I should have mentioned this. This Blue Eyes build I have is a going second OTK build. 1 jet. I think any of the monsters I'm showing you could be run at 2 of, except for alternative. Like 2 Chaos is good, 2 of this is good, 2 of this is definitely good, but he does eat up a normal summon, so it's kind of iffy on that. And then this is not good at 2. Another one that's kind of good at 2 would be the 1 Abyss Dragon. Now, Jet Dragon, we all know why. You could use him as Succeed material as well if you wanted to. He's level 8, and we'll get into that. And of course, the one that makes everything work in the deck is the Abyss Dragon. When she's normal, or no, when she's special summon, I can go ahead and get out a Chaos ritual spell, or just a ritual spell, or a Polymerization. And yes, this is from Kaiba's actual deck. This is Kaiba's actual polymerization. And that's also kind of why I run her, because of the fact that it's Kaiba's polymerization. Straight from the briefcase deck itself. So we got the poly, we got the chaos form, and then she comes out, add one of these, and then that's why we actually have this in hand. So you bring her out, do that, get that, and then with Priestess, it was really easy to get out 2 ritual monsters, ritual summon to one of them, and then probably use the other one for Magia. But with Kaiba Man, it kind of streamlines that, so I took one out, so yada yada yada. Ultimate Fusion sends it back, so we could still go ahead and ritual summon. The problem with Blue Eyes is they have a new trap card, which I decided to keep in the deck, and that is this. But since it's a going second OTK deck, you don't really want Majesty of the White Dragons unless you're going to use it to discard it, because the graveyard effect is banish this card, ritual summon using a Blue Eyes. So in battle phase, if you have attacked, let's say with Blue Eyes, you banish this, send this off, go into a 4K beater, so your opponent's already dead. But for whatever reason you can't kill them, you can't do an OTK with a Blue Eyes deck, you could still set this, and then on your opponent's turn get about 3 pops off. So tomato, tomato, that's why I decided to keep it, because I'm like, yeah, it's really good. It's just really, really good of a trap, even though I'm going second and not first with it. So here are the tech cards. That was a total of, I think, let me see. That was a total of 32 cards I just showed you in the deck. And that's important because that means you have 8 cards. Anything you want. Anything you want at all for destroying your opponent. So I decided to play more into the Kaiba aspect. There's some quote-unquote board breakers. They're not actually board breakers. And by board breaker standards, they are very, very bad. But for Blue Eye standards, they're very, very good. So I will show you the gimmick board breakers, and then I'll show you the standard board breakers, and then we'll go on to the extra deck. So the gimmick board breaker we got is 2 Soul Successor, or no, 2 Successor Souls. This card is very fun, especially since you're going second. And you can only use its effect once per turn, so it's only a 2 of. I don't think you're gonna draw 2, but if you do, I guess bad luck. I don't know. It's RNG at the end of the day, but so this is what you do with it. You normal summon Sage. Sage effect. They're going to tell you, I'm going to impermanent, I'm going to ash it. You say chain Successor Soul, and they will have a monster on the field. You tribute Sage. You tribute their monster. You bring out Blue Eyes. Sage's effect will resolve. You get out a monster from your hand, and then you can continue doing whatever you're doing. But it's a good disruption on their disruption. So if they try to mess you up, you can just mess them up, basically. It just says tribute 1 effect monster, so it's very lenient on that. It does target, though. Yeah, effect monster your opponent controls. And then you do send it to the graveyard, though. So it bypasses a lot of destruction, but it does target. The other one is more fun, because it is 2 spell card Soul Exchange. Kaiba used Soul Exchange because he has obviously a high-level tribute type of monster in his deck. So that's why Soul Exchange is in there, but this is Spellcard Soul Exchange. It's more of the Battle City effect, so when you activate it, you get to tribute any number of monsters your opponent controls to normal summon a monster you control. So if I get bricked with Blue Eyes, play this, and if they don't have a response, aka a negate, that would just mess up my combo anyway, tribute 2 of their monsters for a Blue Eyes, and then the effect is when this card hits the graveyard, they can tribute my monsters, but the monster that's tribute summoned via this effect cannot be tributed, so they're not going to play a level 6 monster, so it doesn't even matter, but you're using this to break the board, so that other effect doesn't even matter either. And of course, Blue Eyes in the art, Blue Eyes in the deck. But I do like those cards a lot. Does this? Yeah, you just tribute them. It does not target or anything like that. But this is a card effect, though. So if it's not like a kaiju, you're not kaijuing them because that would be really broken. It says immediately after this effect resolves, tribute summon one monster. But you're still using your opponent's monsters as tribute, so it's bypassing any effects, though. But if it's like unaffected by activated card effects, that won't fly. But you get the idea. So a lot of decks kinda. Some decks are like, okay, we want to OTK, but when we do, we want to make sure we kill them. This deck's a little different. Since this deck has the synchro monsters in it, it can also grind out. So that's why I have Dark Ruler No More in here. And it's only 2 of. So we already took a lot of slots of the 3 of to make sure our deck works. But then a lot of the slots of the 2 of is for multiple, or at least 4 different cards of board breakers. So I have this in here just in case there's some sort of ultimate board that just can't be broken. I'm just going to play this, and if it gets negated or whatever, but I'm still going to Dark Ruler No More it. And then we could go off to our combos, and Blue Eyes doesn't have to kill that turn. It could go into 2 spirits if it wanted to. I could even set that trap card that I showed you earlier. This is just in case, though, but still. Yeah. Here's another good card. It's also a callback to original Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is 2 Lightning Storm. Of course, the card I'm calling back to is Regeki and, of course, Harvey Feather. And I feel like Kaiba would definitely have Lightning Storm. And I feel like this effect in the anime, if it was in the anime, would not be once per turn, let alone a hard once per turn. But this feels really Kaiba-esque, so I said I'll go ahead and stick it in here. Probably, maybe, no, because if I did a Dark Magician deck, it wouldn't be going second, it would be going first. So, on to the extra deck. We got our Kaiba card Security. We got our Kaiba, what was it? Kaiba Corp Security card. I don't know, some sort of sound effect. And boom, we're in. We're in the logs. Also, I like my sleeves a lot. So, the first card we're going to look at is Magia. You should already know what Magia does. It can negate one of each card type per turn, monster, spell, and trap, and then if it leaves the field because of my opponent's card effect or whatever, I can actually get out a Chaos or Blackluster Soldier monster from my deck or extra deck or Blue Eyes. So I can actually get out the OG one, and of course Magic is 5k. This is like the boss ender of the deck, and of course this is actually Kaiba's very own because it's also from the surprise briefcase deck. So this is Kaiba's actual copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and I unironically played one. So this is before I got the briefcase or whatever, and when I was experimenting with the deck, I said I have to do a Kaiba and I have to play 3 Ultimate Dragons, because of course 3 Ultimate Dragons is something Kaiba would do. Kaiba would make room for 3 Ultimate Dragons. So I did put the original Ultimate Dragon, and it was pretty cool to bring him out just as a cool little beat stick, hit your opponent with it, really awesome. But then I realized, oh wait, Magia just got released, and now you could use him for the material of Magia. But don't think this deck is just going to throw him away just for Magia, because you can recycle him. So that means in a later turn, you can still bring him out. Even with Magia's effect, you can still bring him out. So yes, I understand he is a beat stick, but he's a 45 beat stick. He's not to be reckoned with, because a lot of decks cannot get past 3,000 attack. A lot of decks can't do that. This is 45, so even if you can even go up to 4k. So along with the theme of 3 Ultimate Dragons, we got Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. This is the alternative version of Blue Eyes Ultimate. So this would be Ultimate Dragon number 2. He blows up cards on the field. He cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effect. He's a good upgrade to this one, or he probably should have been. His effect should have been what he was, except for blowing up cards. The standard protection effect, I would say, of like a boss monster. But that's why alternative dragons in there. So the possibility of bringing them out is never 0. It's at least 1%. And of course, we have the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon from the movie pack. Now, I had technical difficulties, so I actually had to reshoot the whole video. I'll probably make a disclaimer in the beginning of the video. Here's a second disclaimer of the video. The recording stopped, so now I have to re-record everything, which I just did. Going back to Neo Blue Eyes, you already know the effect. The video is getting way too long for a deck profile. So I'm going to speed through all this so it can be less than at least 5 minutes. But I do have a copy of Twin Burst Dragon, a copy of Tyrant Dragon, a copy of Spirit in Collector's Rare. Let's see. The light's about to die too, so that's not good. But I hope you can see that. I love this collector version of Spirit Dragon. I had one in, could be Ultra, I don't remember. This one too, Blue Eye Spirit. This is just foil though. I think, unless the letters shine. Yeah, I think it's Ultra, but it's green text. It looks really nice on the synchro. I took this card out, but I stuck it back in, and that is the Azure Eyes. I took it out, but then I realized, oh, sometimes you do need to just play defensive. Sometimes your whole board can just be destroyed, like everything, and if I went into this, that wouldn't have happened. Lightstorm Dragon is a new tech I'm working with. I do like it a lot. His effect is when it's summoned, it blows up cards up to the number of normal monsters +1, but it blows up spells and traps. So if I'm going second and my opponent has yet to spring any traps, I'm going to synchro summon onto Spirit, put into this, and start blowing up the back row. If you have 1 blue eye, it's going to be 2 pops. If you have 2 blue eyes, it's going to be 3 pops, and if you have 3, it's going to be 4, which is the most explosive you could get. Ultimate Spirit. If you do more of a Kaiser play, you could bump this up to more than just 1. I only have 1 because I go Spirit into this, and this would just die. But playing more is pretty good because with especially Neo Kaiser Seahorse, you will get to go into this and have them each and every turn instead of that one turn with Spirit Dragon. This is a godsend of a board breaker, heralding back to the time of the rank up magic scene in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zeal, when they would rank up Exceed Change, and then all cards in the field will be negated because of that, or at least monster effects. So when he's Exceed summoned, he does the same. It is an activated effect, so it's not like the DDD monster, where it can out Bagushka, sadly. So he will come on the field, he will try to activate his effect. If your opponent does not stop it, all face-up cards in the effect will be negated, and that is an OTK enabler at that point. This card is pretty good in case you couldn't kill your opponent, but that's unlikely in this deck. Heretic Seal of the Heretical Seal. If I really wanted to go full OTK with the deck, I would take this out and put in a different card, a different copy of something else. Just because this is definitely of a defense card, but there are going to be times where you just cannot do an OTK or maybe something happened and you just got to link into this. I think it only takes 2 dragon monsters, so it's not that bad. And then we have the 2 copies of Spirit, and the reason why I'm running 2 is because originally when I saw the deck I said, oh, 3 is probably going to be a very good 3 of Spirit, 3 of Ultimate, and then 3 of the Fusion Ultimate. I was wrong. You could get away with 1 Ultimate Spirit. You could get away with 2 Spirits, but if you want to go pure, 2 Spirits probably going to be it. If you're not going to go pure, probably 1, who knows, but I think 2 is good, because you use 1 all the time, like definitely use 1 all the time, and then this is more of a backup. That's kind of also why I have 2 True Lights and 2 Mausoleum Whites, because of the whole backup thing. But that's my deck profile. Thank you for watching, and I'm sorry this took so long. I like to ramble a lot. But like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more possibly deck profiles. I may be doing a Dark Magician one sometime in the near future. Who knows?